I have reviewed over 100 properties in January alone. And in this video, I'm going to go through some of the common mistakes that investors keep facing on a daily basis when reviewing properties to make sure that you guys avoid the same mistakes. And also, buyer's agents often make the same mistakes as well, and they try to push off properties to you guys as investors who may not know any better. And this video will help you figure out those common errors that we often see on a daily basis. And so the first issue that I do want to go through is large trees. Now, I've taken this property at random. It's something I've just had a link to for a really long time. But on this property, you can see that there are a bunch of trees all throughout the property. Now, you can see some trees at the front of the property that are quite large. Now, these trees aren't as big of an issue, right? They might have invasive roots. They have some trees, branches, and leaves that will constantly fall down all throughout the year. So you do need to make sure the gutters are clean. You need to make sure a good building and pest inspection is done so there's no structural issues. But usually the trees at the front have little to no issues when they are further away from the main block. But when you start to look at the photos of this property, you see one tree that is quite an issue when you have a look at it. And it's this tree right here. It is a huge tree that is sloped, that is angled over the property itself. You can see branches reaching over the actual property itself. Not just this one, you can see the one on top. And this is a huge problem. And the reason I say this is because during stormy times, during heavy winds, tree branches fall. And when tree branches fall, they damage your property. Now, these trees can damage, they can break a roof, which will cost you $5,000 to $20,000 to replace, depending on the extent of the damage. Not only that, this tree is a huge tree, which means it will have invasive roots that goes throughout the property towards the retaining walls, to the fences, to the house itself potentially, which means it can cause major structural movements in your property and cause damage in the long run. Now, of course, if a building and pest inspection comes out all clear, it means the risk is a little bit lower. However, that risk will always remain. And this is something I am not particularly comfortable with. And I see this time and time again where the tree branches of these big, large trees damage roofs, they damage fences, and it becomes a real issue because it easily eats into your overall cost of maintenance. And remember, this is in Perth, guys, so you don't get those big stormy winds like you do in far north Queensland, where in Cairns, Townsville, Bundaberg, and so often, when you have these big storms, these cyclones that come through, these trees will cause damage to your property, and you need to maintain them or you need to remove them, because if you don't, they're going to be a headache to your property. So that is one of the most common issues I often see in a lot of these properties, right? Especially these older properties built on large land sizes will have big trees. Now, if this tree was further away to the back of the property and not directly over your property, then you can somewhat look to trade it off. But still, it may not land on the roof itself, but it will land on the fence. And when your tree causes damage to a fence, that can be an issue. Of course, there is insurance, but you want to try avoid these sort of hassles because you want property investing to be sort of passive, out of mind, and tree branches are a real issue. I've experienced it myself. My mates have experienced it. It's not a fun thing to deal with. Before I go on to the next common issue we often face, if you haven't already, jump into the private community, guys. It's $35 a month. I do deal reviews like this every single day for clients on a daily basis. And when I'm doing 100 per month, that's almost 3 a day, right? So I'm doing heaps and heaps of reviews. So I am an expert when it comes to assessing properties and giving you my thoughts and opinions on them so that you can make the right decision before going ahead. And even if you're using a buyer's agent, come in, get a second opinion, learn what I know, and take that information and make better decisions for yourself. There's over 74 reviews for you guys to go have a read of. It's $35 a month. And when you're buying a $500,000 asset, you want to be taking the chance with proven experts and other like-minded investors to help you achieve your dreams and goals in life. And you won't get there by not getting the right help that you need, right? And I have the best interest in your mind. I'm not charging you 15K. I'm not trying to push you through a property deal. I'm not trying to upsell you to a course. I'm here to help you assess your properties, help your strategy so that you can make the right decisions going ahead. So if you have any questions about the community and you just want to try it out for a month, jump in the private community. You can cancel anytime. There is no hidden fees and it'll be well worth your money, right? Let's get back into the video. Now, the next one I want to talk about is everything to do with pools. Now, I've talked about pools a multitude of times, but my recommendation is to never purchase an investment property with a pool, especially in-ground pools, because they are a hell to get rid of and they are not worth it in my opinion, right? Pools are a red flag for me. Now, yes, someone is going to say they will increase the rental uplift on your property. Yes, they do. You can usually charge about $20 to $50 more than a property without a pool. However, it does not cover the cost of how much it costs to maintain a pool, right? Ongoing costs includes maintenance and make sure compliance, safety measures are in place. It includes repairs, right? One major repair to a pool will wipe out the entire rental uplift of a property, right? And pools will often cost about $1,500 an year to maintain or more, right? And then you have to think about the other costs when it comes to repairs and equipment. You might need to replace a pump, which will cost you about a K or two. Then you have filters and servicing, another $200 to $800 potentially and periodically. Then you might have minor repairs like leaks or cleaning parts, right? These are all costs that really add up when you're trying to maintain an investment property. And in my opinion, it's just not worth it. And look, the property looks lovely. You can see it's easily rentable. Tenants are going to love your pool, but it's going to drain your finances. It's going to drain your mental state. And it's a bitch to remove, quite frankly. And I would not recommend it for anyone who is serious about property investing. And I know some people trade it off and it looks nice and they think they might live in that house one day. Guys, when you're buying an investment property, buy it with the right mindset. It's an investment. You want to minimize costs, maximize profit, and pools are not the way to do that, in my opinion. Take it as you will, but I'm going to say that again. Don't buy an investment property with a pool in it. Not worth it. All right. The next thing I want to talk about is fiber houses. Now, fiber houses is a red flag for me. It is not something I consider at all. I either consider a weatherboard house on stumps or on concrete slab or a brick house on concrete slab. Fiber houses, in my opinion, are just not worth the hassle in itself. Now, you may ask why that is. Fiber houses are usually made of sort of asbestos material in terms of the walls and the ceiling linings, which can be a bit of an issue if they are damaged. When the fiber walls and ceilings are damaged, that will release asbestos or fibrous material into the air, which is not healthy for tenants. And tenants will most likely have to leave that house while you get those things repaired, which will affect your overall cost, your rental income, and might create other future problems as well. And generally speaking, fiber houses, they're built in the 1950s to 1960s or earlier. So they're very old homes to begin with, which means that they might have other issues like water issues, plumbing issues, electrical issues. They might need roof replacements, right? So these homes are very, very old, and you can see throughout the property. Like this one is just an example of one that's been unrenovated. But homes like this are old, they're dilapidated, they might need more repairs than you'd expect. And generally speaking, it's just not worth it. The only case where often people go to buy these fiber houses is because they will have a lot larger land parcels with it. They usually come in 600, 700, 800 square meters of land, which means you can land bank on the property for future subdivision development work or making them into townhouses, units, etc. Right? But even then, demolition costs are more expensive compared to a house that is non-asbestos type. So my recommendation is always to stick to these weatherboard houses or brick houses that are built in the 1970s onwards that are relatively easy to maintain. Even weatherboard houses take a little bit more maintenance than brick houses, but they are more affordable to purchase. Weatherboards, they might need a sand and a repaint every 7 to 10 years, but they still hold up much better, have less issues long term, and don't really cause any maintenance or unwarranted risk like fiber houses do. And you can tell something is fiber when you look at the house itself. You can see these sort of pillars or linings throughout the exterior of the walls. You can also see them on the interior sometimes as well, which is a good indication of fibrous material being used throughout the house. I generally avoid it. My recommendation for you is to avoid it as well. Again, some people avoid it. Your property will still go up in value, but it's also the quality of the asset that you have, which will impact the future value of it. So keep that in mind. Now, if you've made it so far through this video, then you are serious about analyzing properties, reviewing properties with health. And if you don't want to join the private community because you don't trust me just yet, I completely understand. That is a fair comment to make. And so if you want me to review your property like this with more detail of a property that you are looking at, then you can actually use the property deal review system, which is literally $9.99. So $10 a review for me to actually go in, review your property based on the images and videos online available on the property, look through the zoning, look through any issues that I can foresee and help you point in the right direction, right? So if you're confused or you have a buyer's agent pushing a property down your throat and you need help just a little bit, just to analyze it, just to give you that extra little bit of confidence, then this is where you can get a taste of it, right? $10, it's an easy system for me to review a property, I'll do it within 24 hours and you'll get a hold of it via email. And that way you can gain a little bit of trust on my reviews as well. So don't wait any longer. Jump in the community or get a property deal review and we will help you out. Now, the last one I want to talk about is steep hills. Now, steep slopes, I'm not very fond of steep slopes as well because there's a couple of issues with that. Now, I do want to caveat this with the fact that I know a lot of investors are buying in Tasmania at the moment. You see some of these slopes in Queensland as well, but mostly Tasmania, up in Launceston, Hobart, Devonport, etc. There's a lot of sloping hills, and you find a lot of good properties like this on sloped hills. And now the first thing I want to say is these properties still go up in value. It's not like they don't. However, there are some issues that naturally come with them, right? Steep blocks are more susceptible to long-term movements, structurally speaking. You want these properties to be structurally sound, and when you're investing for a long period of time, 10, 20 plus years, then you can almost always expect some sort of movement to be inherently in these properties over that long period of time, which can be an issue. Retaining walls can fail and be expensive to repair. Construction or development or drainage costs on these properties will increase significantly if there is any damage. Any sort of subdivision or development work on sloped land is going to be inherently more expensive than flat ground. In some very extreme cases where properties are on an extreme slope, if the properties are old and the property itself is on an extremely strong slope and the property needs to be demolished and rebuilt, you will struggle to find buyers, right? You will even find some developers that will not purchase land and property because the slope is too high and it's hard to build on and it's not as cost efficient to build on these properties. So my recommendation is generally to avoid properties with extreme slopes. This is definitely more on the sort of slopier side, which I would probably avoid. Now, I would look for assets that have maybe a minimal slope to consider, less than 10 degrees or so. Anything more than that, I will be very, very avoidant to purchase, right? And don't get me wrong, these are still going to go up in value because people still want a place to live. But when you think about the long-term implications of something like this, I generally find it's not worth it, right? So I hope this video has helped you guys. And if you need any more help at all, whether it's going through strategy questions, picking which suburbs to invest in, whether you should sell that unit and purchase an investment property, or whether you just want to have someone to talk to that knows about property, then we are here to help. It's $35 a month. It's a subscription service. You can cancel anytime. It's way better than any free community out there. It's way better than any $6,000 community out there. It is a community built by an avid property investor for other property investors. And that should be enough for you guys to try it out for a month. Till next time, thank you very much.